Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Malignant dating sa my chess, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to let me know if I'm saying that slightly incorrectly. I mean, I'm not worried. You guys always get me right, so I appreciate it very much. But I literally just found out they're playing a chess tournament right now, and I thought Wesley So wasn't playing for like a little while because he's not playing a Grand Chess Tour. But him, Quang Liêm, Aronian, and Magnus Carlsen actually playing the San Fermin Masters. And they just got done with the quarterfinals today, and they have finals tomorrow. So I was told it was Wesley So at Magnus Carlsen. I'm not sure though. But for my guy that let me know, I appreciate it very much. It's nice to get a brand new game going on. So this is the round one game in the quarterfinal between Wesley So and Quang Liêm. So former Webster University teammates showing down. So as always, for my people in the Philippines, I will say Mabuhay, Kamusta na, Masaya Kong Mukiri Muli, Ingat Lagi, Mabuting Pagbati. Appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. And for anybody who is coming from Vietnam, I will say Jiao Mui Nui and Camon Dan. Appreciate you guys very much. I believe that is correct. That's how the lady did it. She said Jiao Mui Nui. So I'm just trying to say hello to everybody. There's like 10 different ways that you say hello. You know, there's for younger people, older people, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of languages have that. But if you are coming from Vietnam, let me know if I said that correctly. But if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look and see what we have for this game. All right, so we got D4. Knight comes to F6. We see C4, E6, Knight to C3, Bishop to B4. So we do have the Nimzo-Indian defense. So we've been seeing the Nimzo-Indian quite a bit recently. I guess Wesley So is kind of in the Nimzo-Indian mood. So we do see Queen to C2. You know, we are trying to take back possibly with the Queen here. Or just get the Queen in a nice like Catalani type spot. We do see D5. We got Pawn takes D5, and then we have Queen takes D5. It might look kind of strange because this Queen is like perfectly, you know, capable of getting captured by the Knight, but the Knight is pinned at the moment, so it can't move. So that is a very important thing. But visually, it just looks weird. So we see E3. We got C5. You guys knew C5 was coming. So good job. I know you guys all got C5. We have Bishop to D2. Now something has to be done because that Queen is on pre. For those of you who aren't familiar with on pre, it is French for intake. So it's basically a piece that's capable of being captured. So a little chess term that we have. So we see Bishop takes C3. We see Pawn takes C3. We see castles. We have Knight to F3. We see B6. So we're trying to fianchetto this Bishop and put it on this nice, beautiful diagonal. So we do see C4 backing that Queen up. The Queen comes to C6. And then we do see the novelty of the game, which is Bishop to D3. We have actually seen in a Karyakin game, Bishop to E2 before. And that game ended up in a draw. So we see, like I said, Bishop to D3. We do see Bishop to B7. You know, we're hoping that like white castles and then, you know, you just move like Knight to G5, just get all the pieces out of the way and just deliver a nice little checkmate. But we don't see that. We see Bishop to C3, Knight B to D7. We see castles by white, Rook A to C8. And we see D5, which actually does sacrifice a pawn, but it does give white a little bit of activity. So we do see pawn takes D5, pawn takes D5, and then queen takes D5. And then we have Rook A to D1. You know, of course, we're like hoping that the queen stays there so we can see a nice little discovery with the check over there on H7. But we do see queen to H5. And then we see bishop to F5. And we actually see Rook C to D8. But as you guys can tell, you guys have this bishop and this queen kind of both trained on that square. So if you did so happen to want to take the knight here with bishop takes F3, you are very legitimate, and the position is actually very good for black. You would see pawn taking F3 and then rook to C7. And this is actually a really good position for black. And then you guys can see that white structure is like horribly damaged over here. Plus they're down a pawn. But backing up, we did see Rook C to D8. We see Rook to D6. We see G6, Bishop takes D7, and then we have Knight takes D7. And like I mentioned before, we kind of still do have this problem here. But if you want to go ahead and start, I have to pause the videos. If you do want to pause the video and see what is a really, really nice move for white in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So like I just got done mentioning, you do have this bishop and this queen both kind of trained on this square, and so you don't really have like the best place to really move the knight. You actually can go e4. E4 is actually a very nice move in this position. You know, it's just basically blocking this bishop, and of course, you know, the queen's not going to take this knight. So if you did guess e4, congratulations, you're good at, like, you know, looking at, you know, those types of disconnecting moves. So that's nice. But in the game, we actually see queen down to d1, and it's crazy how many times like the little roller coaster goes up and down in these positions, because it's like black is completely winning and then white is completely winning and then back and forth. Like, we do see queen to d1, so that, you know, that does allow the actually, you know, the bishop to take. What we actually see in the game is queen to f5, but like I said, you very well can just take here with the bishop, and then the queen would take back, and you'd be taking back with the queen, and then the pawn would take back, and then you actually have knight to b8, and you really do want to go into these trades, because not only does white have a really horrible pawn structure, they're also down a pawn. In games are going to favor black pretty heavily. But like I said, we do see queen to f5. For some reason, like Quang Liêm, he's not really confident in taking the knight. Maybe he's kind of thinking there's some type of traps and stuff in the position, because you do kind of have this knight to e5 move. You guys have knight to e5 here, and you know, you're not gonna take, you know, with the queen, you know, of course, and you know, this knight is a little bit pinned, so. This is the second part of the game where if you do want to pause the video and see what black has the ability to play here, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So for those of you that like watch my videos, you guys hear me talk about all the time about why not threaten checkmate, right? Okay, in light of that, if you actually saw queen to e4, you would be literally doing just that. So all of this stuff that white has going on over here is just meaningless because you're threatening checkmate here on g2. So this was actually the best possible move in the position, but it was actually not played. We actually saw knight takes e5. Like Quang Liêm, like, I mean, I think he was kind of looking at the position that Wesley So was creating, and he was just kind of like maybe thinking that there were a little bit too much to the position than maybe he was thinking about. So he's playing actually very cautiously here. And then so we do see rook taking d8, knight back to c6. We see rook taking f8 with check, king taking f8. We see queen to d6 with check, king over to e8, and then we see rook to d1. And it is actually in this position that Lei Quang Liêm does resign the game. There are so many different possibilities. The main points that you want to be paying attention to in this position is the fact that you do have really heavy dark square weaknesses, and white does have a dark square pawn. So at some point, they're probably going to be able to get their bishop up here. The queen is going to be able to kind of go back and forth here. You're going to be able to penetrate with your rook. So one possible, you know, scenario is like queen to e6, which is literally the only move, because you have to defend. You have to try to attack the queen. The queen possibly coming down to g3. Like I said, you know, this rook is going to possibly be able to come up here. You're going to start getting some penetration with the queen coming up here, threatening this pawn and the bishop and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just putting your king in a really tight box. Yes, you are down a pawn, but like I said, you are up in an entire exchange, and you do have a bishop. So you just have a lot going for you as far as white is concerned. So that's why he did resign the game. So it's understandable. But for all of my people in the Philippines, get these good mornings real quick. Maanyong buntag, mayad na agahan, naibeg na biga, masentos siya kaposon, marhe na aga, buenos dias, maanyong aga, mapia na uma, kapian kapo no dios, mayapa abak, mayad na aga, mapia agay, mapia kapapita, may big abukla, marja na buntag, marya mainat, maupe na aga, kasanyangan si LB, salam, assalamu alaikum, merci. Shot through that pretty quick. That was nice. Cool. And of course, come on ban to anybody that is coming from Vietnam. And I appreciate you guys very much. And I will see you guys next time.